1, 2, 3. So, why don't we focus in just a little bit? So we'll focus in and we'll invoke the the energy of the Dakini. The foundational pure awareness, primordially uncreated, is the natural Dakini of great bliss. And within this vision of an interrupted direct perception, gnosis, I embrace and praise this great wonder. In my heart, in the center, is the joined sun and the moon. And within that is the syllable Bam, surrounded by the matrix syllables, Maharinisa. And light radiates forth and pervades the universe and all its contents. And so appearances and sounds and thoughts and all phenomena are the play of the deity, the play of the mantra, the play of primordial wisdom, the play of consciousness. Om Yanadikini Bam, Maharinisa Siddhi Hum. And from the circle of these mantric syllables in my heart, light rays radiate. And so, all the body, speech, and mind empowerments, and all the blessings we've been given, or condensed into light rays and nectarian states, which dissolve into our four places: forehead, throat, heart, Dantean navel. And through the bestow of these empowerments, the primordial wisdom of great bliss is experienced.
Om Jnana Dakinipam Maharinisa Sirihum. 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 Om Jnana Dakinipam Maharinisa Sirihum.
And so clouds of light rays arise from the seed syllables in my heart and our hearts. And by intensely radiating forth, they fill all space. And by taming through pacification, expansion, power, beneficent and fierce means, all miraculous activities are accomplished. And diseases, negative forces, negativity, obscurations are pacified. Shintam kurusoha, and life and merit and glory and wealth increased. Potring kuru om, and the three realms and the universes and the contents are influenced. Vasham kuruho, and harm doers and enemies, obstructing forces are subdued. Marayat pat. So with that understanding, we'll extend to people we know and love. And we'll extend to people who are having difficulties. We'll extend to all the cities. We'll extend to the present. We'll extend to the past. We'll extend to the future. The light. We'll extend to all our ancestors, the generation who feel the light meeting the light. We'll extend to all the great yogis and teachers and gurus we've met. We'll extend to Lama Nurla, who's coming here this Saturday. We'll extend to all the different traditions, themselves fields of knowledge, information, and light that we participate in, and they mix in our bodies. We become universal people. And then again, we'll extend to that dimension that's not easily understood. The archetypical, the deities, devas, vortexes. Extend to the Dakini this morning, the Divine Mother. There are many forms. So let's remain in awareness for a little while. In fact, the whole time we're here. And we've been reading this commentary on the all-creating sovereign, pure perfect presence, the great perfection. The actual text is called The Ornament of the State of Samantabhadra. And it's translated by Jim Valby. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more from that text. And we'll all lean into each other. The great elements, as Bhagavan, abide in the essence of all beings. Liberation is self-originated and does not come from some other cause. The elements are self-perfected because they do not arise through creation. It's a surprising statement, huh? They are great elements because they produce everything. They are great elements because they pervade all beings. They are great elements because they are self-existing. They are great elements because they are unchanging. Pure perfect presence, Rigpa, is immutable and always pervasive. Its essence abides everywhere in the same way. Its clear, luminous nature completely permeates all beings. It is spontaneous, immutable, infinite dimension of bliss, Mahasukha. These great elements, which are the 5 elements, such as space, fire, water, wind, earth, are primordially the essence of the Buddhas of the 5 families. They pervade and abide in all sentient beings. These elements are liberated as the essence of the 5 Buddhas. They do not arise from elsewhere, but they are the real condition itself. The real condition of the 5 elements is the essence of the all-creating, pure, perfect presence. This fact is the single most important point. The primordially pure essence of the Dharmakaya is the earth element because its nature never changes. It is the fire element because it actually applies the wisdom of Rigpa. It is the air element because it knows the immutable space of the wisdom of Rigpa. It is the water element because it unifies the 3 kayas in the wisdom, the 3 dimensions, in the wisdom of Rigpa. It is the space element because it integrates the non-dual realm of spacious luminosity. The 5 elements are already enlightened. Pure perfect presence manifests like earth because everything is supported by pure perfect presence. Pure perfect presence manifests like water because everything is gathered into pure perfect presence. Pure perfect presence manifests like fire because it ripens and equalizes everything. Pure perfect presence manifests like air because it moves in formless space. Pure perfect presence is space-like because it is invisible but pervades everything. This wisdom of greatness is not easy to discover. And presence is realized when one depends upon the indivisibility of prajna and method, knowingness and method, or oneness. Great miracles are not difficult. When all the qualities and phenomena, such as powers, shaktis if you wish, are subtly understood to be the natural state, and immediately they self-manifest. Here, great miracles means the qualities of phenomena on the level of enlightenment. Now, just going to switch for a few moments to another text, which is a commentary by Longchenpa on the precious treasury of genuine meaning, also known as Words and Meaning. And this is called Introducing Through Direct Realization. The luminosity of perfectly pure space, and the practitioner is able to see that the radiance of awareness as the Vajra chain. In the process of this occurring and experiencing this amounts to seeing the original Buddha, Samattabhadra, the first sublime Buddha, the self-radiance of one's own primordially existing nature. One is seeing that which is referred to as the primordial Buddha that abides as one's own nature. That is what is being seen. This is the unmistaken state of awakening that is an aspect of the radiance of awareness. This aspect of original purity, Kadika, and the spontaneous presence appearing as the radiance of awareness. This is the original primordial Buddha, one's own nature. And watching, gazing this in this way, and experiencing this nature, free from the aspects of concepts, the inner state that is unelaborate is dawning. I'm just going to make a tiny comment here. Lama Norla is going to be teaching in the morning meditation on the level of mindfulness, but he is a master of communicating the non-conceptuality of awareness. That's not easily done. That will be the focus, the non-conceptuality. This means that by gazing into basic space, and hence the conceptualizations are pacified in this unelaborate basic space, this Vajra chain that appears, Rigpa's radiance, it's a word for that, is inseparable as appears in this enclosure, this unbound enclosure of basic space. That is the wisdom of the primordial Buddha. That is the field of experience of the primordial Buddha. The primordial Buddha utilizes this wisdom awareness radiance of spontaneous presence and this original purity inseparably. Now as a practitioner, you're experiencing the same wisdom radiance, this field of experience of the primordial Buddha. And at this moment, this begins. This means on this day, at that moment, there is equal fortune with the original Buddha, Samattabhadra. And your capacity is equal to that of the primordial Buddha. You're seeing exactly what the primordial Buddha sees. So the same fortune arises. That is what is meant by this. Having seen, experienced your own true nature, the feeling of joy that emerges is overwhelming, unbinding, unbounding. These are the words of the direct introduction to this nature that is given by the primordial Guru. And this is referred on that day as experiencing the self-awareness that primordially abides as the Vajra chain. Just by seeing this, concerning the countless past lifetimes that you have taken in samsara, you will never have to go through any of that again from this moment onward. So the ordinary individual would develop a tremendous feeling of joy and ultimate gratitude. Once seeing this, for however much one familiarizes, then the corporeal body is going to liberate as the light body, the body of light. To bring this vision of a state of perfection means that in that life, one's body is going to become a body of wisdom light. That's because one is seeing what amounts to being inseparable, original purity, and spontaneous presence. The more that one sustains that, the more that will become. That's what one will become. The field of experience will become that, and only that, and hence the body of light for those who have sublime diligence. For those who have sort of middling, then they will see this, and they'll be liberated in the moment of death. For those who have just seen it, they're going to traverse, go through the bardo, and awaken in the natural Nirmanakaya, and will be liberated in that life. For the actual Vajra chain of awareness, it is described that it is the radiance of the light channels, and that aspect that appears as bindus and 5-colored light for everyone. The radiance of the light channels is the Vajra chain, and this is called the radiance of awareness. It is the radiance of awareness. And this is also referred to as the radiance that is emerging through the light channels, the radiance of the light channels. It is explained or described that this is an aspect what appears as bindus and 5-colored lights and the tigles. But in fact the bindus and the 5-colored lights are an aspect of the radiance. The Vajra chain has many, many enumerations. and continue on a little bit more. By resting at ease within the wind awareness, wisdom is experienced. So wind awareness is joined together as the next key point. The wind, or the prajna, is the mobility, and awareness is that which travels along with, or is impelled by this wind. And these two are working together, combined together. That's why the point is discussed concerning the two of them simultaneously, because they're not separate whatsoever. By resting at ease within the wind awareness, wisdom is experienced. In order to bring the wind to a place of complete ease, it is useful to send them, extend them out to a distance. And according to the gazing practice, the wind needs to be utilized very slowly. Whenever there's an exhalation of the breath and the wind, this means to be occurring very, very slowly, subtly. And also the breath is supposed to be sent out at a distance, so far as one can actually send it out. What happens is then these two, which are usually always together, because awareness takes the wind as its mount, like the horse. They separate momentarily, because now the wind and the breath is being sent out at a distance slowly, way out. So the notion is that they separate. Then awareness is no longer being impelled by anything. So it becomes immovable. Totally stable. It is separate from conceptualization and a particular or exceptional level of samadhi happens. Since the winds are the mount of the mind when sent out, the horse, the mount, is also sent out. So the understanding is that the mount, or that which causes the mind, moves it, or rigpa, moving and active, is now out and has been extended out subtly. Therefore the radiance of awareness is becoming immovable. It is no longer being sustained by the pranic wind. And you can probably feel that right now, the difference. Prana, the wind. And when brought back, the mind returns, and while the radiance then dissolves into the heart. When the wind is sent out, it is going outside the body, but the radiance at this moment is within. Rigpa, and this dissolves into the inner heart essence. The self-nature of the original pure awareness becomes evident. According to this particular system of Dzogchen Pasho, breathing through the nostrils needs to cease and only breathe through the mouth. The reason is that here, according to this system, right, and there are many systems, but according to this one, the breath of prana taken through the mouth is connected to the lungs, where there are channels that look like shafts of grain. It is in the lungs. The channel resembles that the shaft of grain, and it connects between the lungs and the heart. The Rigpa is abiding in the heart. And even though this is intangible, still there are descriptions of lucid clarity of that presence that is abiding as the appearance of the lights, the 5 lights, in the chakra of the heart essence, or the 5 orbs of luminosity abiding in the center, this space, or dhyam in the heart. That would be the presence of Rigpa here, which is actually the aspect of basic space, and its aspects of lucidity and clarity, luminosity, knowingness. So it is the original purity of basic space and the lucidity of basic spaciousness. From this point of view of conceptual distinction, that's the nature, and this is how it abides. Then when this radiance of the nature, which we call Rigpa, is set into motion by the karmic winds, it rises up through the channel, and this channel is connected to the heart and lungs. When the practitioner exhales the wind of the breath out of the mouth, because the breath connects to the mouth from the lungs, it goes out very, very slowly, very subtly. So the mind's horse, the mind's mount, is sent away, and there's a separation. One is not meant to instantly inhale back in, but allow the best to stay out as long as possible, and to remain in that state where the separation occurs as long as possible. And as you and I know, this will often happen spontaneously, right? This is the breathless breath. Just open our mouth lightly for a little bit. We do. We can bypass the extension. We just open our mouth, open our eyes and gaze up. It's like ah. Sometimes you see in some of the scriptures one should approach the guru with their mouth open. It has a similar connotation of that. Ah. text also describes how breathing through the nostrils, it actually increases as you use those two side channels that come up in the more traditional Hatha Yogi way. It increases thought, actually. So you step out of that. And all this is with the least amount of effort, no effort. Sometimes you can experience the ah without the actual sound, just like ah. I'm going to do one more variation And we're remaining in our awareness state just like we are. And we're going to extend down to the perineum. And as we extend down to the perineum, if you'd like, you can breathe up both the subtle breath and the wind. Just breathing it up, actually using your breath. You can breathe your breath down. You can pull the breath, the wind, energy up. To the palate. Behind your eyes. Top of your head. Then pause and go back down. And you're just going to bring the energy up without the breath. Very thin, very subtle. Like the light. But without the breath. And the body opens. Porousness. And for a moment, just focus on expand your focus to the field phenomena. A field that's beyond your body, through your body, but beyond your body. That's the medium of the field. Just sense that. It's like, check it out. can feel the self-manifestation, how it's simply arising in the stability. You can notice how it's sustaining you and how it's maintaining this great space, awareness, maintaining and sustaining us. And resting in it. You can notice how in this place there are no distractions, even though all kind of things can be moving, rising, and hearing, but there's no distraction. So we're going to be remaining in this place of awareness. And even if I'm babbling on here, you are still the place. So when you and I are in awareness, distraction doesn't easily take place. Sometimes your mind can be having thoughts, and yet in the awareness, it's still thought-free, non-conceptual. So now I'm going to pass the mic around, but we're going to sustain, remain. A lot of the texts say remain, remain, remaining. Like the song, the energy of the song of space says, remain, remaining, remaining. And so we're going to remain, and if you wish, we'll say some words from this place. But remaining. We don't really have to shift. Like an old habit. It's like the habit of ending meditation. That's just a habit. Remaining. And if you don't want to just articulate, share, you don't have to. I'm going to pass the mic this way. But even if I pass it and you pass it, you're acting through this.
The awareness seems and feels pervasive and stable, and yet, as you said, within that, thoughts arise and dissolve just effortlessly. There's nothing to cling to, so they come and go.
That's a great phrase. Nothing to cling to, so they come and go.
Things that happen during the experience of awareness are very different from thoughts. What is happening for me today? It's almost like yes, this energy is very much that all that light coming out from the heart, but the experience is not being alone at all. The experience is everyone and that energy coming out of everyone's heart, and what that experience is like coming out of everyone's heart. There is no aloneness at all, and it's also not a distraction or a thought to experience that energy as being one with everyone else's.
Well said. Very
Today the field feels a lot like the way that humidity feels in the atmosphere. And not temperature-wise, but again, sort of like its consistency. It's pervasive, and there's no in or out. There's no here or there. It's just it's very pervasive and very strong.
I really had an experience of how this did sustain me, this type of breathing and awareness of space. And pervasiveness was kind of the word. And then I just felt compelled to shift my gaze and explore the impact of gazing upon this pervasive experience of the movement of air, or it almost felt like the movement of emptiness through me. So that it was really the movement of emptiness through me and through everything. And when I gazed down, the experience was the movement of emptiness through me as me. And it really felt like this experience in Nirmanakaya. And when I gazed at the horizon and slightly above, I was gazing, and the pervasiveness was the movement of emptiness through me as Sambhogakaya. And then I gazed up, and of course it was the movement of emptiness through me, sustaining me as Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya, I think, yeah. And I thought, well, this is the breathless breath because I fell into that, but it's also the deathless death because you are becoming and then opening into the expanse in such a way that you're just the one. And so your singularity as the one, not as the person. And I found that very interesting.
Thank you so much. And it's really so much fun, beautiful is you also the three gazes that you describe in the Togao gazes, and you may not know about
I don't know them.
but you don't have to, because you're experiencing it. So when you gaze up, it's like a Dharmakaya gaze, and I get confused which one is which, gazing down. There are three different gazes that go to the three different postures, and those three different postures are one is Sambhogakaya, one is Nirmanakaya, and one is Dharmakaya. And the yogis actually ask us to practice different ones that it helps open up the different dimensions. And then eventually they describe all those dimensions as how it teaches.
Well, at the end of my thing, they felt like nested infinities. Yeah. So thank you.
Remaining in awareness meant for me today, there was no gazing. Didn't want to go there. Just a quiet certainty or confidence, like being at the bottom of the ocean and just a single thread, like a seaweed attached to the bottom of the ocean, and you just have to flow with what's there. And letting the breath stop, which of course is immense, and just something to watch.
My experience of the field is a vast black space in front of me with little lighted candles all over. Each person is a lighted candle. And within me I feel this column of light that comes up from my lowest chakra, up through my head and out. And the light then flows over this field of little lighted candles, almost like molasses would, and it just flows over the whole field, and then kind of comes back to me, and then flows over the field again, so that the light continues to be there, both in a pervasive way and in an individual way.
Mostly I'm with vibration that is both light and energy. And every so often I'll have like a thought, and then it just kind of bursts, kind of like a bubble, and merges back into the vibration. And the quality of the vibration changes from time to time. Sometimes it's really like this pervasive, peaceful serenity, and then other times it's more like a staccato kind of vibration.
I'm so aware today in a way that I haven't been aware before of the increase in the intensity of the field with each sharing. It just, I mean, the ideas and the images and the experience and everything have always been interesting and helpful. But this time it's not, it's just so palpable in terms of the intensity of the field, with everybody opening their mouths, sharing. And I want to say thank you to the person who said nested infinities, because that's an experience that I had as a very young child. I never had the words for it. And that was a wonderful image. And it's so dark and light and alive, and there's no gravity and yet such solidity right now. I don't really know more what I want to say.
Today has been all about gazing in a very different way. Rather than a kind of soft gaze, it's been more of a sort of almost piercing into the icons and having them come back at me in a illuminated sort of three-dimensional way. I really have enjoyed that very much.
Today, I've really appreciated the quiet, and I've had the experience of almost like nothing. Just an evenness. And then this, periodically it like swells up into this, like a yearning. It's like in my bottom of my throat to the kind of like to the back of my throat. Just this intense, which just gets, it's between, it's between this like wild laughter and wanting to cry and gratitude. And desire, which is the yearning.
Really helpful because you remind us that desire is the manifestation of awareness. She rises. Desire. I am receiving very intense infusions of energy into my Sahasrara, and that happens to me a lot here. And then today, as it's coming in, this energy, I am being acquainted with hundreds of channels in the front of my head. And it's moving through them, moving down. And as it's moving down, I am experiencing an ecstasy that starts in the throat center and continues streaming down into the heart. And I am aware on a level of experience and energy, not on a level of thought, now that each of these centers is what I have learned, is
to honor and manage and birth all these different qualities in our being. And the most profound of that for me right now is that in the heart, I am experiencing the birthing, the evolution of something, and that it never stops. I'm experiencing a releasing of what I don't need and a birthing of something new, and I am in that evolution. And I realize it probably never stops, but today I'm realizing that movement, that constant birthing and releasing.
That is at Yatsuma's place. I think it's August 9th. That week, a very renowned Nyingma master will be coming, who's one of the heart sons of Pema Rinpoche. And he's going to be giving a course on the channels and the lung and the energies. And that'll be really cool. And he's also going to be teaching really esoteric, the great Lama. It's not Longchenpa, but Longchenpa, the one who wrote Divinity of Appearances. And he's going to be, which is very seldom taught, they'll be teaching called the Inner Mahayana, the inner practice. It's really cool. And you might Google it, and I'll Google it for you guys next week. But that's something that's close by.
I don't really have anything to say.
Well said. But you're going to Gurdava Tantra.
So, I didn't want to hear people talk because I thought it would take me out of the place in my heart, but with each person talking, I actually went deeper and mostly didn't hear any words with my ears, but what was said brought me so quiet and so deep. And the words you said earlier about resting in the body, just resting in the body and listening with something other than my ears, I don't even know what.
Thank you so much.
I was first struggling with thoughts, and so I just went down into the body, and I just felt a lot of earth energy and that sense of thickness that someone described earlier, like the humidity. I was like a liquid mercury that was thick. And as people have talked, it's almost that my body's opened up even more, and so there's a permeability and a lightness and kind of I call it a shadow of joy.
So my experience today was the innateness that I felt of the ah and the awe, and how that's so there, but not, for me, not noticed. And then I felt this gratitude, and so I had a thought. Gratitude of what? Like it has to be attached to something, and it was just gratitude, just there. And then a sense of, which is very unusual for me, like this higher power, and then again of what I thought, let that go, and it's just there. And then I realized what I saw is all the attachments to things, which
things about, things of, things just, you said be in the field, just kind of, I felt a little bit of fear, like, well, what then? And then I just kind of let that go, and that's what I'm dealing with now.
Thank you so much. Well said.
Pretty consistently with the opening of the mouth and the sense of gazing has come this experience of being breathed. So that I can feel this expansion, this movement in and what's sort of like round and less round. And the quietness that comes in that experience that must be the breathless breath, and then being able to follow the instructions for the sort of bringing the rest of the body into the breathless breath experience, so that the sense of the roundness of my being breathed, and from time to time having the sense of everyone here is being breathed as I am.
For me, that experience of letting your subtle energy, your awareness ride out with the wind, and just extending and extending and extending, it brought this new, I've never felt, it was like so hard to describe, on the top of my diaphragm just arose the breathless breath in this very organic way that I'd never experienced without that, riding the wind out and extending and extending and extending, and it just arose and ascended into the Dharmakaya, and it was so seamless, so effortless. So that was just such a powerful way of having that experience. It's really lovely.
The field for me today just felt really sweet and playful and blissful and easy and pleasant. Which is nice and different. Last week and for a while I felt a lot of pain and sorrow in the field, just a lot of heavy sadness all around.
Yeah, I enjoyed experiencing the elements, and the one that stayed with me was the air and the breath, and and the colors, and I thought about Yogananda, who would just want to meditate all day, and I could never understand that until today. I went like, why would I want to leave here? And thoughts would come through, and you hear, and they pass, but mine would often stay. But today they just traveled on, and I hesitated to share this part because it sounds kind of strange, but in the air and in the color and in the joy, I slipped into being a big tree, and I loved it. It was just, I can't understand if I really was or as what or whatever, but then that disappeared, and then I went back to just the wonderful air and the colors, and you can tell that food comes from air, and it was very nourishing.
I'm going to try to speak essentially because so much was happening. I felt that as I listened to the instructions, I could kind of hear but not hear them. There was a softness to it, and if I went too far into the mental understanding, I would lose the feeling. So as I just went deeper and deeper into the body and deeper into the experience of awareness and the grounding of it, and opened up the channels by simply placing intent rather than worrying about, am I supposed to focus the breathing here or the breathing there, I noticed that it didn't matter, that it wasn't a question of, am I doing the experience right? It was a question of opening up. Somebody used the word desire earlier, and I'd been thinking of it as intent and focusing intent, but really what's behind the intent is desire. So having the desire to have the experience and allowing myself to open up the channels simply by focusing on them got me into such a deep space where I could focus on first the physical things in my body that helped to ground me in the experience, and then the energetic things. And Rudy, your instruction to go into the perineum was really helpful, because that opened up even more of a connection to the earth and to the ground. And what I was experiencing as all this happened was a deep intensity of the spaciousness and the chi. And I felt like, even though my eyes were open, I felt like I was gazing from the inside of the body. And as I did that, the energetic channels just opened up in and around me, but it wasn't about the channels as much as it was the experience of the incredible, dense but very spacious energy that pervaded my entire body, and the circular motion of the chi, and then the connection to the chi on the outside. It was like I was both. And so I understand the connection that somebody made about deathlessness. I think it was Helen, that it felt like this was both individual to me and outside of me, and it's not a question of this is me and then it will be gone. It was a question of this is me and this is all of us, and it's always here. And the next thing I noticed was that as I kept doing this, the energy in my body kept getting stronger and stronger, and I got a real understanding of chi as if light is a higher vibrational essence, chi just steps through a different layer of experience and gets grounded in the body so that it becomes this physical essence that sustains us all. It's still light, but it's just deeper and more physical. It's like it steps down through layers and becomes so sustaining. And I found myself remembering, all I have to do is just remember to do this. That's all.
My experiences of brilliance, you know, when you start reading the descriptions from the scriptures about the great perfection, that's very easy for me. I can go there and I can hang out there, and that just feels so wonderful. And then we start getting these procedures to try to find it again. And I frequently back off and start looking for it again. And I didn't do that this morning. I didn't do that this morning. And I absolutely, you know, the little imp in me just loves the notion of going to a place that is ineffable, can't use words for it, and getting words to describe it. I just think that's so cool. And so I'm going to try to do that. And the brilliance is the thing. And the brilliance is the notion that it comes to me. It's like a light. You know, over in Europe, where I think they call it a cyclotron, where they take these atoms or these particles and they get them going for 15 miles, and then they run to each other, break into smithereens, or the atomic bomb. You know, all that power came out of breaking of an atom. And so this is where the light is going down to its finest thing, and we break through I break through the limits that the elements put on light. And that, out of that is what comes the brilliance. And that just kind of overrides everything. That's it. That's the brilliance.
I am very much with the wind awareness. And as I experienced it, you know, from the deeply, deeply in my heart center, and as you suggested extending to the perineum, I felt this deep-rooted extension into the earth, and then just an arising from that earth. I did become a tree. I became this rooted, deep tree, and then arising up, all the while remaining in my heart and resting and so quiet. And then the just the soothing of just very gentle wind breezes back and forth, just ever so gentle back and forth, so soothing. So the depth in the earth and the gentle soothing of just movement in the tree.
When I came in today, I was feeling tired, really heavy. Been processing my father's death about 10 days ago, and as we were doing this, I found myself sinking into a different place inside, and really feeling a very deep stillness inside that is different, and kind of refuge place within all of that.
I would just say that my experience today has been one of being in supreme repose, unwavering, unswerving, and filled with light.
We start to end up now. We can rub our hands together. And I may have told this story before, but when we were touching the elements, and in this magnificent text, the first understanding is the elements is the great, pure and perfect presence itself. Right? The first movement is elements, and then it described how these elements are primordial presence itself. Then in the manifestation. So I'll tell you a story about water. I may have told you guys this, but the Karmapa was at Lama Norla's place 4 years ago or something like that. And he was giving an empowerment on one of the 5 Buddhas, this power of think so much. Say it again? Akshobhya. And how this empowerment really also helps with anger and that phenomena. So as he starts giving this water empowerment, it shows and it's a beautiful day, absolutely fantastic day. And he must be about 27, 28 years old. He's young and frisky, okay? So there's this beautiful tent, and there's tents all over the place, and all these ancient relics are there. It's quite great. And he starts giving gives the empowerment. And he looks around and he starts making these gestures in the empowerment. All of a sudden, the whole place changes. This vortex starts whirling around. You can actually see the vortexes coming around. What's good? And then it's moving through the whole place. Tents are being blown down. Everybody's trying to remain sort of cool, but wanting to run to their cars. And it's just moving and moving and moving, and he's got this smile of manifesting this dimension, huh? And then it's the whole place, and then it just stops. He says, "I guess I better go." It stops, and he walks out, jumps in the car, and leaves. So it was totally cool and really, really lots of fun. So, with that, really appreciate everybody being here today, and it's really, really fun being with people who practice and hold awareness, and we'll see each other next week. This is Kathy's last day. We enjoyed having you here. Moving to New Jersey, great. It's a great land. Thank you all so much. And yes, I'm gonna go week by week. So let's see who's gonna be here. It's good question. Who's gonna be here next week? And we have enough people. Okay, we'll do it. Great. Thank you, guys. See you all.
I love it.
was like a little child, I remember it's like one of those seminal memories of being this big and looking out the window of my back door of my house and seeing infinities, like squares into squares into squares into squares.
That's a very
into squares
Kabbalistic imagery. Yeah, that's actually the imagery of Kabbalah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. That's actually...
shows I'm Jewish in this life.
Well, yeah. Well, we've all been in some ways, right?
Yeah.
So, Jesus, I'm so into Buddhism right now, but it's Asya, Yitzhara, and all of the universes, as the Kabbalists view them, are nested in these squares.
Unbelievable. I was like, my parents were fighting. I was like
That's
separated.
very, I can feel it.
And I looked out that window at the back door, and that was there. It was like all that was going on in there.
So that was, as the Kabbalists see it, that was the earth universe nested within the psychological universe, nested within the spiritual universe, nested within the ineffable. And those are squares that they see. That's like ancient Kabbalah.
Is there a name? Is there a, I mean, it's just, what did you call it?
Nested infinity.
But that was your words, right? Or is that their words?
I mean, I don't know if it's their words, but certainly I understood it when I saw that imagery. It's an ancient imagery. I'll try to draw it, which I right now I have nothing accessible to me. I'll try to draw it for you, because I'll bet it's similar to what you saw. But that's very much a Kabbalistic image, which conveys, it's a hieroglyph. To me, it's a Kabbalistic hieroglyph that you're explaining. That really points the direction of reality. Does that make sense? Yeah.